This segment of our top 100 games of all time is sponsored by Game Toppers. Game Toppers LLC has more than a few solutions that transform almost any normal table into a sturdy and portable gaming table without breaking the bank. Their Game Toppers 4.0 Kickstarter is launching on October 24th, so be sure to check out all the new products they have coming and stop by GameToppersLLC.com for everything they currently have to offer you, from game toppers to playmats and more. Hey folks, welcome back. We are running our top 20 games.
I'll walk in my top 20
right
games.
Here. No, we're running. We're running like wild banshees. Top 20. It doesn't get any better than this, folks.
That's true.
And of course, my games are going to be better than his.
Not a chance.
You already know that.
Not a chance.
Daggone Skippy they
Somebody said you're up by 9 points, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, see, I'm up by 9. It's okay. I can lose or lead just as well as the Bears and the Cubs put together.
Right on. Let's
do it. Those of you that know, that's pretty daggone fast. So here we go. 11 to 20, but in reverse. All right, my number 20 is a 2-player abstract strategy game.
2-player?
In my top 20. All right, we got to wait for everybody to pick themselves up now.
He's abstract? Not a clue. I didn't even know you played 2-player games.
Not a clue. This is called, it's from Gray Fox Games, it's called Ragnaroks.
Oh,
Ragnaroks.
Nice.
2-player game, abstract strategy game. I really enjoy this. It's by the same designer, I think his name is Gordo, that did Santorini. And it has that same vibe to it, where you're trying to build up and you're trying to kind of sequester off parts of the board for you to score. And you're trying to do it fast enough so that your opponent can't keep you from doing what you're trying to do. Santorini has a 3D vibe to it. A 3D aspect, not really a vibe. It has a 3D aspect to the strategy. This one doesn't. It's all kind of two-dimensional. You're all on the board, and you're kind of. It's different than Santorini, but it carries the same feel.
Sure.
And I actually like it a lot better than Santorini. Ragnaroks has a Viking theme to it, and I really enjoy the Viking theme. It has really neat pieces. The rocks that you place out on the board are like 3D, really neat looking, jutted out rock pieces.
Yeah. And
just has great table presence. That's a big thing for me. Has to have a good table presence for me to like it. Has to look good, especially if it's an abstract strategy game, because there's really not much else as far as theme that you can sink your teeth into. So it's got to look good, and it's got to have a great table presence, and it has all of that in spades. So my number 20, Ragnaroks from Gray Fox Games.
That's a great pick. I actually taught this to Hawken not too long ago. It was my son. He's 8, and we played it a whole bunch. He loves it, and he taught it to his mom so that he could play it more.
That's cool.
Dead serious.
That's super cool.
So he taught it to Mel so they could play it more.
That's awesome.
But it is great.
Number 20, Ragnaroks.
Yes, sir. My number 20 is the greatest trick-taking game of all time.
The greatest trick-taking game of all time?
Yep. It's fairly new. You could
fairly
say
new. I don't know what it is.
It's The Crew.
The Crew is the greatest?
Yep.
I don't know about that.
The Crew is the greatest. I will bet you money.
Okay, I will say it's the greatest cooperative trick-taking game that's out there.
It's just a hair better than Skull King, which is the greatest competitive one.
All right.
And I'm talking better than Pinochle, better than anything. I like The Crew that much. I bet you I have 100 hours into The Crew.
100 hours?
Garen, yep.
Wow, that's a lot of time.
I've sat down and played a 7 hour straight of The Crew. I'm not joking. We just keep on going. Just keep on messing around, playing, and swapping people out.
Buddy, you have friends, man. You can.
Those with my family. It's not by myself. Right, you got to play it with 4 or 5 people. But Crew, Mission, Deep Sea is the better of the 2 versions.
You don't like the space one?
I like it, but the Deep Sea one, just the objectives are better overall. The objectives are just better overall on Deep Sea. But yeah, we love the crew, and I will guarantee you I've probably got 100 hours into it.
I used to have 2 copies of the space one.
I don't.
I rectified that.
Yep, I got Deep Sea, and that's enough.
All right, that's cool.
But that's
All
my
right.
number 20.
I do enjoy the crew. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know about your moniker of being the best of all time. All right, my number 19. Even though I slipped out of my hand, my number 19. It's a dice chucker. You're only throwing dice on this one. You got a couple standees that you move into one area and out of one area, and you're trying to knock people around and score points. Not Zombicide. No, this is called King of Tokyo.
Oh, King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo is one of my favorite games. That's why it's so high on the list, because it is so approachable. It has a theme that's wrapped around to it that people just are interested in, unless they're sticks in the mud. Throwing monsters at each other and having them duke it out in the middle of a city. Yes, there's a lot of collateral damage. Yes, there's a lot of people that are probably dying during the battle. But it's all fantastical, so it doesn't matter. This is a really cool game, in my opinion. And my favorite version of the game is the dark version. Yeah. King of Tokyo Dark,
this was,
I think is what it's called. And it was on your list.
Previously in my 100, yeah. Same.
It was on your list.
Same.
And I've enjoyed King of Tokyo ever since it first came out, and through all of the different additions of different characters and all that kind of stuff, and the Halloween characters and Halloween dice, and throwing on costumes and all that other kind of stuff, and then you had special abilities come up for each of the different, and those were cool too. So I like using all of that, but I really do enjoy that dark version. It really kind of trimmed a lot of the fat off the game and just made it very, very cool. I was not a big fan of King of New York, though.
I like King of New York, but I got rid of King of New York when I had King of Tokyo, then I got King of New York, and I kept it and got rid of the old King of Tokyo, and then I got the dark version, and then that's kind of where I stuck. Because it is the best with the extra abilities you get for your rolling your 1, 2s, and 3s, right? Yeah. It's a nice add. So.
I do. Yep, I do like that. I have everything in one huge tub. I have the boxes hanging up on my wall as decorations in the studio. But I just love this game. Number 19, King of Tokyo.
That is a good pick.
Of course it is.
My number 19, I was going to say, is our 12th crossover, but now it's our 13th crossover because you just topped King of Tokyo out there. That's our 13th crossover. Which ain't too bad.
Lucky number 13.
Most of my games are really good, and most of his games are, no, I'm just kidding.
He's not kidding. That's the problem.
Well, I guess it's our 13th crossover in theory a little bit, because this is Pandemic. Now, remember, I group everything together, so I don't have Pandemic in multiple locations. So my favorite Pandemic ever is Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
Okay.
That's the best version of Pandemic.
I agree.
In my opinion.
That is by far.
Yeah, Pandemic Legacy Season 1 was fantastic. 2 was really, really cool. 0, I'll tell you a secret, we haven't finished. We have not finished.
The 4 of us.
The 4 of us.
We can blame it on our wives.
Yep, we can blame it on them.
It's not our fault.
But 1 was the best.
We're too busy.
And as far as the single versions, and I haven't played the Rising Tides, but I think I've played most of the rest of them. I'm looking forward to playing the Star Wars one.
Yeah.
Actually. So if there's ever a Star Wars game that I want to play, that's the first one that I've ever admitted to. So,
wow.
Just kidding. But I do like
for you, bro.
I know
they're walking. Actually, they're walking away from you.
Yeah, no. But yeah, Pandemic's great. Fall of Rome is my favorite from the standalone. Yep. I also really like the Wrath of the Lich King.
That is a good one
because it's kind of a better one to introduce people to. Because it has other things and it has a cool theme and stuff like that. So, and then Iberia is really good as well. So,
yep. All right,
love Pandemic.
Good pick. Good pick. All right, my number 18.
Here we go.
Is a World War II version of a game that I've already had on my list. And
Surprise.
it's because this was the OG. It was literally called V Commandos when it first came out. It got into a little bit of problem because there's some kind of game out there that already used the word V Commandos. I don't even think it was a board game. I think it was like an app or something like that.
Oh, geez.
And they came after them, and so they were like, okay, fine, we'll change the name to V Sabotage. That's what it's called now, V Sabotage. And if you want a cooperative game where it is us playing against the game and you have to employ stealth, this is your Huckleberry, because it is probably, in my opinion, it's one of the best war-themed stealth games that are out there. Now, I say war-themed because there is a version called
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed: The Brotherhood of Venice.
Yep.
That uses employs the same mechanisms, employs the same stealth mechanism and all that kind of stuff, but it's based around that video game. This is a bunch of different missions in World War II that's happening, and that's why I like it a lot more. I never played the Assassin's Creed video game. I still like the game, though, because I like the system that it's built around. This one, I'm a World War II fan. I'm an aficionado, shall we say it that way, of World War II, and so V Commandos / V Sabotage. It's V Sabotage now.
V Sabotage.
I should stop calling it V Commandos, but that's what I've always called it. That's what my boxes have on it, and I just really enjoy it. So that's my number 18, V Sabotage.
Very nice. Very, very nice. My number 18 is a pretty popular game nowadays, and it just is. And it frustrates me. No, I'm just kidding. That might come up in a second, but no. My number 18.
I don't want anybody to like what I like.
Is Dune Imperium.
Oh,
Dune Imperium is
a good one.
One of the tightest mechanisms where they're one of the tightest games where all of the mechanisms work so intricately together.
Is that why it frustrates you?
No. That's to come. But it's a worker placement game, but your workers are placed based on a card play, which is really nice. So you have those cards that are either used during your worker placement or they're used after your worker placement, to get benefits and everything else. Plus you have the little combat area and you have intrigue cards and things like that. It is just very well tuned and very tight. And there's a couple of obviously expansions to it that make it really even better.
Yeah.
And each expansion just made it tighter and tighter and tighter. So they've just come out with what they were originally calling, what they were originally calling was an expansion, a standalone expansion called Dune Uprising.
Yeah.
Is coming out now.
Right.
But you can't play it with the original game.
Huh?
And so why would you call it a standalone expansion? Then they kind of changed it to a standalone, new version. So you can play some of the old stuff with the new game, but you can't play the new one with the old game. And it sounds really good. Sounds like they did a really good job. It does frustrate me a little bit that if I buy it, some of my old stuff is kind of obsolete at that point. So I'm kind of on the fence there, but I'm sure it'll come out and be fantastic. Dune Imperium is a really, really solid game.
Why do publishers shoot themselves in the foot that way?
I don't know. Because I think they wanted to revamp it. I mean, overall, they wanted to revamp
like a
and
2.0.
kind of tune it up. They should have just said Dune Imperium 2,
yeah.
and I would have been totally happy with that.
Yep.
But it was kind of weird when they said, new expansion coming out.
Yeah.
That
like,
you can't
cool.
use.
Get to add to my game. Oh, no,
super
you can't
excited.
play it with
Yeah.
your own. It's standalone.
It is what it is. Regardless, my number 18 is still Dune Imperium. It's a fantastic game.
Good pick. All right, my number 17 is a Vincent Dutrait artwork game.
Oh, no.
Well, it is now.
He didn't run out of them yet?
Nope. Not yet. It wasn't originally Vincent Dutrait's artwork, but the second edition put out by Elf Creek Games did have Vincent Dutrait's artwork. Atlantis Rising.
That's what I was going to say. I was thinking of the name. I just couldn't pop out of my brain.
I know. Atlantis Rising. This is a great cooperative game that keeps you on your toes the entire time. And Vincent Dutrait's artwork just, completely multiplied my enjoyment of the game because it is such a beautiful game. The artwork, I don't know what it is, but he has, maybe it's the color blue. He has a command, and I mean a command, of the color blue and using it, making it look almost like it's glowing on a flat piece of paper. I don't understand how he does it. I'm not an artist, but this game is so beautiful, and I already enjoyed it. Z and I talked about it a lot before the second edition came out, and his artwork just made it really pop for me. So I love this game because of the artwork, but I already liked it because of the mechanisms and how thrilling, I guess it is. You know, you're trying to accomplish all of these different goals while as Atlantis is sinking down. There's a lot of push your luck in it, so you're kind of wanting to go out as far as you can so you can get the best use of that action, but you're risking going under. Yeah. And it's just a really cool push your luck cooperative game. Really enjoy it. So that's my number 17, Atlantis Rising.
I do like Atlantis Rising, and it's gorgeous. I do feel that your next move is pretty procedural sometimes. Like you know what you're going to do next. Like there's the decision space isn't huge. Usually the best move possible is in front of you. So.
Cooperative games are not always, but they're often like that though. They're very procedural because you're all working together towards a common goal. Yeah. So
I kind of feel this one was more procedural than others, but it's still a really cool game.
That's fine.
That's all right.
You have the right to be wrong.
Okay. I do have the right to be wrong. We already discussed that once. All right, we are on number 17.
Yes, sir.
My number 17 is another amalgamation of games that I smashed all together as tight as I could, and that is Clank. My favorite being Clank Legacy, with Clank Legacy 2 coming out soon. Not soon, next year, but I'm pretty excited. We're really excited about that. But
it's relatively soon.
Yeah. Clank Legacy was a fantastic game, but as far as Clank is concerned, base Clank is fine, but I really love Clank in Space. I still own Clank in Space, and then we got Clank Catacombs, which gives you that much more variability in the dungeon. Clank's just a really great deck building game, and it adds that extra piece to deck building that really opens it up. So,
I like it. I think Clank in Space is probably my favorite.
I think it's still my favorite over Catacombs, but I haven't played Catacombs a lot, so it might change. And just the way they did such a good job with all of the cards being, throwbacks to, there's so many it's all Easter eggs. Yeah, every card's an Easter egg to something. So
Heroes Incorporated was really fun though.
Yep.
They did a really good job with that Legacy.
Really, really good. So,
that's cool.
My number 17, Clank Legacy.
My number 16 is a game that is all about Irish coffee. No, it's all about Irish, I guess, history, tradition, maybe. It's called Inish. The components of the game and how you play the game. How you play the game, admittedly, can be a little frustrating because it's one of those games where you can be on the cusp of winning, and it's kind of how you're supposed to play a game. People will
drag you down.
Will start attacking you to keep you from winning, so that they can have a chance to win. And because of that, the game can go a little long. And sometimes it can overstay its welcome because if you get to a spot where you have a couple of people who are vying for control, but they're starting to make a little bit like lackluster decisions, they can actually keep undercutting each other, and it'll just make the game go a little too long.
I haven't played Inish.
It's still really fun. The board fits together in this like really weird shaped these modular boards, and they piece together really well, but they have really jagged edges. It makes the game really pop on the table. That's one of the things I like about it. It's just a huge table presence, but all of the little miniatures are really good too. It has really good card play in it as well. I just really enjoy this game, and it happened to have that Irish heritage theme to it. So
nice.
I was down. It's my number 16, Inish.
Very good. Very, very good. My number 16 is, I believe, actually another crossover. I didn't even think about that. I think it is another crossover. You can tell me if I'm... No, I'm pretty sure you're...
Maybe it's
this
not.
Is a Friedman Freeze game. And it's Math, the board game.
Yeah. Okay, yes, it is. It is.
Power Grid.
Yes.
I love Power Grid. I don't think
That's
I've
number
ever
14.
lost Power Grid.
Now we're off at lucky 13, so that's
Yeah.
good. You've never lost Power
My
Grid?
number 16, I don't think I've ever lost Power Grid.
Well, I'm going to have to fix that.
Yeah, you should.
I can't.
I love Power Grid, but just every single dollar counts, and how much am I going to spend on resources, and the market's going down, and stuff's getting more expensive, and, which power, you're bidding for those power plants and everything else. It's just so much fun.
Yeah. This is probably one of the mathiest games that I enjoy.
Sure.
Because there is so much, but it's kind of...
It's not unnecessary math.
No, it isn't.
Economic math.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm... Yeah. It's like the math is like hidden in the theme.
Yep.
And it all makes sense and it all works with the theme, so you're not really understanding that you're doing math. But that's why I really suck at it, because I'm not good at doing math on the fly. But yeah, it's one of the mathiest games that I actually enjoy.
All those little wood houses that are your power plants, I have 3D printed little power plants. They're so cool with smokestacks. Like
I told you, he's
so
a 3D
cool.
printer. Mm-hmm. He's a 3D printer. He loves doing this stuff.
Yeah.
All right, my number 15. Throw math and logic out the window with my number 15.
Okay.
This is all about lies and deception, or
in Hong Kong,
honest forthrightness can also get you ahead. So you got to go to one extreme or the other. You can sometimes play in the middle.
Sheriff of Nottingham.
Sheriff of Nottingham.
Nice.
See, there you go.
What a good game.
Sheriff of Nottingham is so much fun. I've heard so many people poo-poo this game.
Yeah.
And I look at them as... I'm like, okay, I now know what kind of gamer you are. You're a serious gamer. You don't know how to have fun with other people at the table. That's the problem. You are having so much fun as Sheriff of Nottingham, and the only way that you can really play this game, in my opinion, is just like diving headfirst into the theme. Mm-hmm. Bring out your crappy British accent and start, acting like the Sheriff of Nottingham when you're the sheriff, and just be evil. And you just really have to dive in with both feet. And role play is really, it's not listed as a mechanism, but it really kind of is if you really want to have fun with the game. Yeah. And we've had so much fun with this game. So it's my number 15, Sheriff of Nottingham.
That is a good pick and super fun. Super fun. My number 15 is a little higher on the difficulty scale compared to your Sheriff of Nottingham. Ooh. And this is my third game under the water, and you've guessed it twice already. So would you like to guess a third time?
Underwater Cities?
Underwater Cities. My number 15 is Underwater Cities.
At least I knew you liked this game.
I love this game. Underwater Cities, you're making a little complex under the water. You're making cities with bubbles. You're making tunnels between them. You're adding buildings inside of the cities for increased production of algae and and science and those kind of things. And it has a really cool card play, which every turn you're going to play one of your cards out, whether it be yellow, green, or red. And if you play on a green spot with a green card, then you get an extra benefit. So you can use that green card to play a orange or yellow spot if you really need the action there. But I mean, it's obviously beneficial to try to match those up and time them properly. And you still have to get all of your resources in. You're getting algae and steel and bio, and I can't think of the fourth one, but you're getting all these different resources in to build the cities. And then with the expansion, which is called New Discoveries, double layer boards.
Yeah.
For all that stuff to fit into, your little bubbles and cities to fit in those double layer boards. Double layer boards. More asymmetry in the boards, and more cards and everything else. But Underwater Cities is a fantastic puzzle. Great game.
I think people should start designing games around the idea of just having double layer board. Okay, my number 14 is a catch-all. And for me, when I say it's a catch-all, it means that what JT does all the time. He takes all of the games that have that name on it and slap it into one. I prefer the original game, but I think any iteration of this game is going to be cool for you. You just have to do it. It's called Small World.
Yeah.
Small World is a great little area control game where you're going to have your race of people. Well, you're going to have your I don't know, what is it, like a human, elf? What is that called?
Yeah, that's
nationality, a race.
That's a race.
But then you're also going to have another like clarification of what kind of human are you. You're going to be like, or ravenous humans or whatever, or whatever. So you have these two things, and they work together to give you your special ability throughout the course of the game. You're simply trying to go out there and conquer as much territory as you can. You're going to get points every turn after you've conquered, and then at some point during the course of the game, unless you're playing like some weird combo that really sticks around a long time, your race is going to go into decline. Their time has closed, and you're going to have to start with another race, another combination, and you're going to have to do the best you can with them. You'll probably have to do that 3 times in the course of about 10 rounds to really have a choice. That I've tried. People told me back in the time you need to try to get 10 points a round. Every round you need to try to get about 10 points. That gives you a good chance of winning. Whether it
average that out.
Yeah, if you average out, because at the beginning you're not going to get 10 points. Nope. But at the end you're probably getting 14, 15 points. So you just have to average it out. So anyway, it's a great little game. I really enjoy the Small World of Warcraft version. I think if you were a Warcraft fan, that might be the first place that you would go to. Yeah. It has a couple little nuances that aren't in the base game. But if you just like a really vanilla high fantasy area control game, Small World, the base game, is where it at, and it has a truckload of expansions. Yes. So you can just add new races and abilities and all this other kind of stuff into it. So it's a really cool thing. They also have like Small World Underground, I think Underworld. I haven't
actually played that one. Yes, it's called Underground.
It's okay. It's okay. I much prefer the original to it, but again, there's a lot of different avenues to it, so just kind of do your research and see where you want to sink your teeth in.
I love Small World, and that's another crossover for us. So.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You had it on yours?
Yeah.
Okay, man, I don't
had
remember.
It ways back.
It's on your list?
Yeah. No, it was a while back, but I did have it. Small World's a great game. And just the fact that every time you play, you're going to get different races with different modifiers. Yep. And
variability is off the charts.
Fantastic. Was that your 14?
Yes, it was. Wow. 14.
This list is going by fast.
It's because we're on it.
My number 14 is one of the coolest games I have ever played. And for anybody that's ever played,
13 more better games out there.
So neat, though, and this is ISS Vanguard.
I haven't played
ISS Vanguard is fan-freaking-tastic. And that is no joke. When Mel and I first got this thing, we put it on the table, and I'm not even kidding. We put it on the table, I think Thanksgiving weekend. And we don't play all the time, and she's doing school, and I'm doing things, whatever else. Yeah. But if we wanted to play a different game, we went to the other table to play. It stayed on the table from Thanksgiving weekend till, I don't know, early February.
Oh my goodness.
Not even joking. And we just go play. Like we would be like, we got a couple hours, let's go jump in the ship and start upgrading your ship. ISS Vanguard. Cool. So the Earth finds coordinates to this something within the DNA of the world. And so they build this ship called the ISS Vanguard, and they send off the crew and the ISS Vanguard to go find out what this is. And there's a crew deck that's that deep that you're going to get crew members out of, and you have 4 sections. You have engineering, you have science, you have security, and you have recon sections. So each of us plays 2 sections for the way that we play it. Yeah. But each of those sections is going to have their specialty, but it's all about dice. They all have dice to use, but as you use the dice, your person gets tired. So maybe you have 5 dice, once you use the 5 dice, you're going to get them back, but you're only going to get 4 back, and then you're going to get 3 back. So you have a limited time, and what you're doing is you're taking an away team of one person from each of these, and you're taking them down to the surface.
Yeah.
Some of them might not come back alive, and you lose that person forever. And they rank up, and they get better, and they do all these kind of things. And then once you're done on whatever planet you're on, you go back to the ship, you upgrade your ship, you do new research, you put wounded guys in the med bay. It's a fantastic game.
So the dice loss is like a time mechanism for the emission.
Mm-hmm.
So once your dude's rolling 1 die, then
you're
probably not.
If you're not out by that time, you're toast.
Okay.
And there you take supplies down to the planet with you, which can replenish some of your dice. But once your supplies are gone, they're gone. Mm-hmm. So, and you're creating jetpacks and med kits and all these different items that you can take down with you. And you have shuttles that can carry so much equipment. Some of the shuttles are good. At being fast and going in, but they don't carry very much, and some of them are big chunky things that carry more. And you just have to manage all that. You just get to play.
My only experience with this game is when I was over at Zulu's Board Game Cafe in Bothell, and during the afternoon when I was just kind of waiting for Matt to do some stuff away, the owner of the store, I was sitting in the thing, and there were 2 guys that were sitting in the corner of the store. They were hunched over ISS Vanguard the entire afternoon, and near the end of the afternoon, they were starting. Actually, that night they had been there all day. And that night, I was about to leave, and I said, "So how is it?" And you could tell they were physically exhausted.
Mentally.
They were physically exhausted, but they could not stop saying good things about ISS Vanguard.
We would wake up in the morning, and Mel would be like, "Let me get some coffee. Let's go." And we'd go sit down for 2 hours or 3 hours, and then we'd have lunch, and she'd be like, "Oh, we can do a little bit more."
Vanguard for breakfast.
Just amazing. It's really good. And there was one scenario that I was in that made me so mad within the theme. It made me so mad that I had to take a few days off before I came back to play it. But it's that good.
All right, JT takes his gaming seriously, folks.
Mm-hmm. Especially when my crew members die.
All right, my number 13 is a simultaneous action selection game in which you are pirates racing your ships around the island of Jamaica.
Jamaica, man.
Jamaica is a
horrible accent.
I was gonna just let it roll. I was gonna let it go, but you had to hold on to it. It is such a beautiful game. The cards that you are looking at to choose what you're going to be doing in the morning and what you're going to be doing in the evening are the artwork. One of the coolest things about it, the artwork on each of the cards, you can put the cards in such a manner end to end, and they make one continuous mural.
Nice.
And it's really cool. I've never done that, but I've seen people on the Geek that have. They took pictures to prove it, so I believe them.
That's cool.
But Jamaica is just a really fun pirate-themed game where you are racing around the island, shooting cannons at each other, blowing stuff up, stealing treasure, giving people cursed treasure so that it's negative points at the end of the game. Whoever gets around the island first ends the game, but whoever has the most gold and points is the one that wins the game. So you might not be in first, but you still could be the winner if you had enough gold and points together. Yeah. So it's a really fun game. There's multiple paths that you can take around the island. You can go up high and try to get some more treasure. You can stay down low, closer to the island. It's just a really fun game, and it's a beautiful game. Got a great table presence.
I've only played it once.
Really?
Yeah, I'd like to play it more, but I've only played it once.
Yeah,
so.
We've played this so many times. It's just become a staple in my collection. Very nice. That's my number. What is that? 13.
13.
Jamaica.
Jamaica. I'm not even gonna try the accent because you'll shoot me.
I won't shoot you.
My number 13 is a really cool deck builder. And I think it's probably the only game that I have more cards of than Marvel Champions, and that is Aeon's End.
Okay.
I really love Aeon's End. Mel and I have played. I think there was one expansion that's come out since the last Legacy game. I have everything before that expansion. I don't have that expansion. I probably won't get it. Truthfully, I have enough at this point in my time. But there's 2 Legacy games in it. Aeon's End Legacy. Aeon's End Legacy of Graveholt is our favorite version. That Legacy was fantastic. It was kind of funny because I just integrated the cards. We played through Aeon's End Legacy, Legacy of Graveholt, excuse me. We played through it, and once we got done, we played through it, we spent time playing, we marathoned it. That's the right word.
Yeah.
When we got done, Mel was like, "Is there a reset pack for this so we can play the other side?" She wanted to start over. And I haven't found that reset pack. So I kept it separate for quite a while. I just integrated it into all the rest of my cards. But just going through those cards bring back so many fond memories. But cool. We really love Legacy, or Aeon's End. Aeon's End is an amazing game.
That's cool.
And it's the only game you build a deck where you never get to shuffle. So,
I think I've only played Aeon's. I've only played the game once, but I don't think it was. There's a non-legacy version of it, right?
Sure, yeah. There's 4 of them, I think.
And that's the only one I played. I played it on the Dice Tower Cruise one year, and I enjoyed it. It was a great time. All right, my number 12. My number 12 is a brand spanking new game. It's brand spanking new to me. I think it came out last year, 2022, I think is the time for it. But this one is also a Vincent Dutrait artwork game.
Surprise.
By Thunderworks Games. And this is called 10 Penny Parks.
10 Penny Parks.
10 Penny Parks. I love spatial organization games. I love tile laying games. I love worker placement games. Yeah, and that's basically what this game is. And on top of that, it's got Vincent's artwork on it. So I really enjoy the game a lot. And I enjoy, I usually don't say this about many games, I enjoy all players, all player number
all player counts.
Yep, all player counts. I tried it, I played it solo last week on the channel and really enjoyed it. Got my butt handed to me. Becky is a very good player. Becky is the AI that you have to play against. She's a very good player, and she whooped me up and down.
This is a cool game.
The street. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, 10 Penny Parks, my number 12.
Nice. That's a really good one. My number 12 is a S.J. McDonald game, Garfield Games. But this one is not in the West Kingdom series or in the other series or in the other series. This is space themed. And this one is Circadian's First Light. Circadian's First Light is one of my favorite dice placement games ever. So you're basically on an alien planet, and there's 3 alien races on that planet that you have to you get to interact with. And there's a board, which is a planet board, where you've got a harvester that moves around, so you can collect water and all the different resources that you need, algae and, or not algae, what is it? Anyways, you're collecting, it's a green sludge looking thing. I can't think of it right now, but you have your dice and however many dice you start with, but you have your own player board, and when you place on your player board, you're either sending your dice out in ships to go do actions on the board, or they're staying home to work in your manufacturing or farms. And then there's a point where you're going to put them in the depository, and then they never get to come back to you. So you're always trying to get new dice. I think you have like a max of like 13 dice that you can get. But you're trying to get new dice, do the things in the depository, and interact with the aliens. You're making a few items, and then you're upgrading your base. But it's such a cool dice placement game. It's really neat.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever played this game, and I think it was the artwork that turned it off.
Yeah, I understand that.
It was so different than everything else, because Shim Phillips didn't do the artwork for this one, I think.
No. And I don't even know if he was in the design of this one. This was the S.J. McDonald. I mean, obviously Garfield was the ones that produced it or whatever.
Right.
But
yeah,
it's just a really neat game, and it was really just, went under the radar.
Yeah, it did. But it's good to hear it was good, though.
It was fantastic.
Finally, my number 11 just missed the top 10, but other
things happened.
Other things happened, and other games came out and pushed this one just off of the top 10.
I know what it is.
What is it?
It's Zombicide Black Plague.
How did you know? Did you see it?
I just have a guess because I know what came out in your last one.
Zombicide Black Plague. You picked that up.
Yeah, well, you said something else came out.
Yes,
and you had Undead or Unalive last time.
I did.
But
I didn't say I was going to
else yet. So
well, okay. Well, you read between the lines well, sir. Zombicide Black Plague was my entry level to loving Zombicide. I liked it with the first edition where it was like modern times and all that kind of stuff, but it had just a couple rules that were super stupid to me. Yeah. And Zombicide Black Plague was actually where they were like, okay, let's change that rule then.
Sure.
Because I guess it couldn't have been just me. They must have had a lot of feedback about that. And so, okay, let's change the thing. And Zombicide Black Plague, you don't have to kill your friends first.
No.
Go figure. That's amazing.
When you're pulling the trigger and you're supposed to be good at it, you don't have to shoot at your friends first.
Exactly. So... but on top of that, I really enjoyed the medieval theme to it.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the medieval theme to it because it was so much better than the modern, kind of cartoony, punk rocky looking type stuff that Zombicide, the original version, was. So this was my entry point into really enjoying the game, and I really did enjoy it a lot. And from then, it's just really I almost kind of lump. I know I probably shouldn't, but I kind of lump Green Horde in with Black Plague.
It is part of Black Plague.
I know, it's a standalone expansion, right? Because you can play just Green Horde.
Yeah.
You don't have to play it with it.
Agreed.
I like
the mechanisms in
wolves.
Green Horde.
What's the wolf expansion? Wolfsburg. I
Yeah.
also put all three of those together.
Yeah, they're all together.
I put all three of those together. So So I did lump a little bit of it into one.
Yeah.
But
speaking of speaking of this list for you though, if you look on my shelves, my two most worn out boxes on my shelf are Small World and Zombicide Black Plague.
Really,
that box is just beat up.
Well,
I need a new box.
It
is what it is. That's a great pick.
Take a wild guess at what my most beat up box is on my shelf.
I have no idea.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, tell me later. Perfect. That's a great pick. I love Zombicide Black Plague. Enough that I spent $67 or whatever.
I just looked at his screen. I can't see that far, so it's fine.
You can't? I mean, zoom in.
No.
My number 11 is a funny pick, and I'll try not to talk too long. So use your internal timer to shut me off. So my number 11 is, I'm just going to go right into it. My number 11 is Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition. I am a huge fan of Terraforming Mars. When Ares Expedition came out, Ares Expedition, have you played Ares Expedition? I don't even know if you've played it. I
haven't, but you said Terraforming Mars.
I know, but it took Terraforming Mars and it crunched down and streamlined all of the rules and everything else. It streamlined everything, and then it gave you that role for the galaxy, or race for the galaxy, action selection.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really friggin' cool.
You said it was like Roll for the Galaxy, so I'll try it.
Oh, you'll like it.
It's Terraforming.
I would almost say you're going to like it.
Okay. All right.
The thing about it is Terraforming Mars, this was actually the reason why I stopped when I was doing this top 100, because it's not something I normally do, but this is the reason why I decided to lump everything together.
Okay.
Because I couldn't figure out how to put Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition in, and as I was looking at Terraforming Mars, it just kept falling down and down. Like, if I put Terraforming Mars on this list, even though it's a top 20 game for sure, it would be 60 or so, because I don't feel any need to play it.
Because you have
Ares Expedition.
Got it.
And Ares Expedition added a cooperative mode. It's got expansion with all kinds of good stuff in it. It is just this is probably Mel's #1 game.
Cool.
Or pretty close.
Wow.
But Ares Expedition is a fantastic game. Terraforming Mars is a fantastic game. But I just couldn't fit it in my top 100 and feel good about where Terraforming Mars landed. So
yeah, understood.
So I just stuck with my number 11, Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition.
Ares Expedition
is really good.
All right, I'm really down. Good. You just got to teach me how to play it. That's all.
I can do that. I'll be happy to do that.
All right. Well, first of all, before we say goodbye, I want to thank Game Toppers for being the sponsor of this episode and the top 10 games of all time. That's going to be coming up next week, y'all. Top 10 is coming up, but I do want to thank Berkey and the Game Toppers group. They've supplied this Holmes, and they supplied me with. Well, actually, I worked for this mat, this biking mat. I worked for this. This is something, but they have great products, so you need to go check them out. They've got their 4.0 Kickstarter coming up on October 24th.
Nice.
So go check that out if you have the time and proclivity to do so. I don't even know if I use that word.
You were talking about the beautiful water in Atlantis Rising, and then you look at this right across the bottom of the screen. It's just gorgeous, right?
It's pretty cool.
You can see it in there. It just looks good.
Certainly can. Well, that's it. We're going to get on out of here. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.
Thank you.